Are you ready to move to Washington? Are you? I'm ready.
Hey everyone, it's Katie, and this is Total Chaos. I'm kidding. This is my life with Veds. I am moving back to Washington State, and I am so excited to move back to Washington State, and I just wanted to touch base with you and give you an update about what's going on because this is complete and total, utter chaos, and I'm super excited about it. Before I jump into this, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, I would really appreciate it if you did. On this channel, I talk about my life with Veds, I talk about my podcast, Staying Connected, where I talk to other people about their stories with Veds, and I share community updates as they arise. So if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more videos like this, and thank you. Okay, I am really excited about this move for a bunch of reasons, but I'm just going to talk about some major ones today. 1, mountains. I really miss the mountains and the giant trees and the lots of like drizzly, beautiful rain that is just kind of this, everybody describes it as this like gray yuckiness, but I find it absolutely beautiful, and I am so excited to be back in that climate and that nature and to have like hikes and things to do out there, and I'm totally thrilled. And here's a really silly video I took maybe a couple weeks after moving out there in 2016. Alright, so everyone knows I moved to Washington, and I think I found like my favorite place to just come and hang out in this tree. I'm like completely inside the tree. And if you look up, that's the top of the tree. Isn't it beautiful? I'm in the best place ever. The second major reason I'm very excited about this is because I'm going to be reunited with my care team at the University of Washington. Now, my situation before wasn't perfect. I lived a good deal away from the University of Washington when I was out there in 2016. I lived in Olympia. This time we're going to try to be a little bit closer to Seattle, closer to UW. I don't think I truly realized how crazy my care would be when I moved back here to Florida. And I've talked about creating a care team before. I've talked about how important it is, and I think when I was in Orlando, I was much more successful at this. When I moved to Tallahassee in 2019 to be with my fiance, who is now my husband, I did not realize how hard it was going to be to start a care team here. And I'm going to try not to cry talking about this. It has been very difficult to have a care team in Tallahassee. I tried really hard to find a vascular surgeon, and I could not get the one at the trauma hospital here to take me, and then that vascular surgeon prevented all of those vascular surgeons in that hospital from seeing me. So I ended up with a cardiothoracic surgeon at that hospital and a vascular surgeon at the competing hospital, and they could not communicate with each other because they were at competing hospitals. Which at the time I was like, you know, it is what it is. I've got a vascular surgeon, I've got a cardiothoracic surgeon. I really couldn't find much else for my care team. Like, I had a primary care doctor, but most of the other specialties I've seen here have not really been interested or knowledgeable about Veds, and they don't really express kind of a desire to be knowledgeable about Veds, which has been very, very frustrating. And that is a major understatement. So I did the best I could. I still relied on my care team a bit at the University of Washington when I moved back to Florida. I really loved traveling. I just thought I would travel there once a year. It would give me an excuse to be in Washington because I really just love it so much there. I cannot overstate that. And I would get my scans there, and then they would communicate with my doctors here, and everybody would just be on the same page. And to an extent that worked until the pandemic hit. When the pandemic hit, like, the very, very fragile system that I had here completely crumbled. And it has been very, very difficult trying to maintain my sanity here during the pandemic. At the beginning of the pandemic, I was due for my scans, which I had planned to fly out to Washington for. And it wasn't safe to do that, right? So I tried to get somebody here to order my scans, and they ordered the scans, every scan that I needed except for the one that I had a known aneurysm in my brain. I was having some like whooshing in my ear, and I have a known aneurysm in that area. That's my pseudoaneurysm from my carotid artery dissection in 2016. And I hadn't had a scan on that for a year. I was due for a scan on that, and I had major anxiety over this. Like every time I laid on the couch, I would just hear this like swishing sound or this like weird rumbly sound, and I thought it was the aneurysm, and I thought it was growing, and I tried to get a scan on it, and that was the only scan that my vascular surgeon wouldn't order. And I was like, I remember being totally devastated, right? Like I needed this scan. I couldn't get it. Basically, I couldn't get the scan. And then once I finally got somebody to order the scan, insurance denied it, and then my team at UW tried to order the scan like from Washington to Florida, and I thought maybe that would work because during the pandemic, like, you know, telemedicine and stuff. But no, insurance denied that too because my surgeon at the University of Washington is not licensed in the state of Florida. So I ended up, I think, trying for a month to get this scan before I gave up and was super anxious because I kept hearing that noise, and I ended up going to the ER to get like that checked to make sure the aneurysm wasn't growing and it wasn't about to burst and I wasn't about to die. And I haven't had any faith in my care team here since then. Like the little faith that I had kind of crumbled. And you know, there's some good doctors here, but having doctors at competing hospitals that won't talk to each other and having the extra stress of the pandemic on top of that, it was just too much. It was absolutely just too much for me, and I mentally broke. And I had been really trying to keep it together. And I want to thank you because on some level, y'all have helped me keep it together, and I love you all so much. So thank you for letting me vent about this because it was really hard. So I am really excited to be reuniting with my University of Washington care team, or UW care team. Like, I absolutely love them. I am so excited to be back there among the mountains and the trees and the better care. And I do think there's something to be said about having faith in your care team. And when I lost it here, it was really hard, right? Because I feel like if something happens to me here, like, I don't have any faith that it's going to work out. And that is something that I need. I need, for my own mental sanity, like I need to be able to rely on my care team, and I couldn't do it here. So we're moving. And this is how we're moving in this camper here, where I'm recording now. This is my new couch in the camper, and we are going to be taking off in this thing with our dog and our cat and my gecko, and we are going to be driving across the country from Florida to this beautiful state of Washington as soon as we sell our house here. So I hope we can find something affordable where we need to be, but truly I'm just very excited. I'm going to give you a camper tour now. Oh, there I am. Hello. Alright. It will be chaotic, but I expect to maintain the every 2-week schedule for YouTube as long as we have an internet connection to upload. The new season of Staying Connected is coming out on September 11th, and there will be a trailer for that on September 4th. All the episodes have been recorded. I've been editing away while we're still here in Florida, and I expect to be able to air that season starting on September 11th, and I am super excited to share that with you. I am absolutely thrilled to share that with you. I'll be uploading like short clips from those interviews and then linking to the full episode when they air. So you'll get a little bit of video footage and then you'll get a link to the entire episode. And I'm just really excited about that. I love doing this podcast. I absolutely love doing this podcast. I love talking to people about their stories. I love being able to share people's stories and raise awareness in that way, because it's not just about my story, it's about all of our stories and raising awareness through that. So thank you so much for being here for me and for being here for this chaos that is coming up. I'm just absolutely excited about it. I'm thrilled about it. I cannot wait to be back in Washington. I'll probably close this video with a couple more clips of how beautiful it is there, because it is where my heart is. When I get into Washington and I step into the nature there, I feel totally at peace, and that is where I need to be.